before we are commencing our approach into the Suez Canal. And this evening at just around 7:30 we arrived here at the anchorage Victor 1, which is right here. This is us right here, and these circles represent anchorages. So we dropped our anchor here, and at this time here we have just recovered our anchor. It's a little after 11 in the evening, and we are just waiting for the authorities to give us the go-ahead once we can commence the transit. And that should happen within the next 15 to 20 minutes from now. Then once we get underway, then we will pick up the pilots. We will have an electrician that comes on board, and he will put a light. Some of you, if you are on the helipad throughout the night, you will see an interesting light that shoots two beams of lights, and that is intended so we can see the buoys as we go through the canal in the dark.
Calling Port Said control.
Yeah, Port Said, port control, bridging to the seas. We're just approaching East Channel now, passing buoy Hotel Mike 150 in 2 minutes.
Okay, Port Said, okay, you can enter the channel,
Copy that, clear to enter the channel. Can you advise which side for pilot this evening, over?
Inside with port side.
Copy that, port side for pilot. Brilliant, standing by on 1-2.
Thank you.
Clear to enter the channel. So it's now exactly 12:30, half past midnight, and we have received orders from port control to proceed. So we left the anchorage Victor just about 10 minutes ago, and we are to be ready inside the channel at the rendezvous buoy, which is called Hotel Mike 150. So that's where we are. You can see here on the screen the ship itself is here, and you can see we'll be joining the approach channel. We will take the east lane today or this morning, and be ready inside the channel here. You can see right here, this is the speed we are doing right now, 11 knots, and that'll put us here in the channel, heading in the right direction at exactly 1:45, which is the time we need to be ready. As for now, it looks like we are going to be the first ship in the convoy, so we'll see how that works out. So we're in the bridge, and first officer is driving the ship, and he will be taking it through the canal for the first part, and then he'll be relieved a little bit later on. And I'll be up here as well for a couple of more hours, and then staff captain will take over from me for a couple of hours as well. So that means that basically in about 20-25 minutes from now we should see a couple of small boats coming up to the ship. We need to hoist a small boat, which is called a mooring boat, and this boat is a boat we're required to carry as we pass through the canal. Also, we will have some pilots coming and joining us also in about 25 minutes from now, and all these people will be boarding by small boats, so if you're up late you will see them approaching the ship. We're now approaching in the channel here, the east channel into the canal, and the pilots are now joining us, and we see them coming here close to the ship. So right now we will be receiving 2 pilots that's gonna let us know when we pick up the mooring men and the other officials that are coming and going to within the next half an hour or so. So we see the pilot boat is now coming alongside, and we have 2 of them joining us, so they'll be on the bridge within the next few minutes.
Pilot on board.
Pilot, what are ready port side, okay?
Yes, already on the port side. So now we can see we're just entering the north entrance of the canal here, and what we can see down there is what they refer to as a mooring boat. And we are required to hoist this mooring boat up to hang on the ship side as we pass through the canal. And the reason for this is if there is an engine failure while we're inside the canal, that we can send our lines to mooring buoys that are in the canal. And in order to send the lines, we need a boat to bring the lines across. And that is the purpose of this boat. So you'll see now here in just a minute, we're going to hoist this boat up with our crane here in the forward part of the ship, and then it'll be hanging here on the side of the ship as we pass through.
Two electricians on board. Two electricians on board.
When are we going to do that?
One more pilot by the long side and more people coming in.
We have one more pilot on board.
One more pilot on board.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is 2:15 in the morning, and we are now inside the Suez Canal. So we have done all the preparations and the clearance to pass through. We had the canal inspector examining our certificates. We now have the mooring boat on the ship side. We have changed the harbor pilot to a canal pilot, and everything is all good. And I can actually see at this time there's quite a few of our guests around the ship. So very interesting. Of course, they want to get a first sight of the Middle East. As you can see here around us, there's really not much more than a few lights we can see, and in a very short period of time from now we won't actually be able to see anything because it's going to be just dark and sand around us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the staff captain come up and replace me for a couple of hours, and in about a half an hour from now. And then I'll go and put my head down just like the rest of you. So hope you enjoyed it, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, good morning everyone. We are back here on the bridge. I got my coffee for the morning. And it's 8:30 in the morning, and we are here just inside the Great Bitter Lake, and as we can see we're passing by other ships that are at anchor here, and we'll be also dropping our anchor within the next 15 to 20 minutes from now. And then we are going to be waiting here in the Great Bitter Lake for the northbound convoy to pass us, and once the northbound convoy clears, then we can proceed. And we are now scheduled to take the first spot in the convoy. It'll be number 1 in the last part of the convoy, so that's why we are moving ahead of all these other ships here in the lake. And then we should be proceeding again around 12:30 as it looks for now. And since we'll be number 1 in the convoy, that also means we're going to exit the channel earlier than anticipated, and we should be out of the channel around 2:30 this afternoon at Port Suez, which is the city at the south entrance of the Suez Canal, where the north is Port Said. Port Suez is the name in the south. Also here in the Great Bitter Lake, this is where the yellow fleet got stuck. We briefly mentioned in one of the other videos. It was during the Six-Day War in 1967. After the war, the Egyptians closed the canal, and the canal remained closed up until 74. So the ship was effectively trapped here for 7 to 8 years. And it was called the Yellow Fleet because of all the sand that then covered them, and all the ships were yellow. So just a piece of history for you there. But I'll be back with some more information once we start moving again. Okay, port 5. I have the con.
Welcome port 5.
Yeah.
Running and testing.
Port 10.
Port 10. Welcome port 10.
We have anchor position in the chart.
In the bow, 4 champions in the water.
Okay, secure on 4.
4 in the water and both we can secure the anchor, yeah?
Copy that, secure the anchor.
Very good. Stop the thruster.
Stop the thruster.
Bow bridge, let's go port anchor, go in the water.
Copy the bow, let's go port number 4, go in the water. Let's go, libre libre!
Yes.
Alright, so we can put anchor position in the chart. Make sure we stay here. We'll keep propulsion and gas turbine and diesel running for now, but you can kill one of the pumps on the port side. That's fine, otherwise just keep it running. Plan is that around 11 we start heaving again. So, okay, very good. So you're taking over. So that's pretty much what we've got. And just as soon as Kirag is put anchor position, then you check that, and that's it. All right, so we can go green condition. First officer has the nav command in the con. Very good, excellent. Very good afternoon again, ladies and gentlemen. Captain Henrik here on the bridge. As you can see, we are just now passing the cargo ship Pavian, actually. It's the name of it, on our port side. And this is the last ship in the northbound convoy. And right now we are entering the last narrow part here of the canal. And as I mentioned, we are ship number 2 in the convoy. Some of you have been asking what those green and black elements are you see along the shore in certain places. Those are actually floating bridges that the military has prepared, so in case they need to, they can quickly move military vehicles across the Suez Canal. Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading south here. It's the last part of the transit, and you can see many of you out there enjoying the beautiful weather here in the Suez Canal. As you are seeing towards shore on each side, I believe I mentioned that, but obviously we have both sides of the Suez Canal is Egypt, and on our starboard side we have the African side, and on our port side we have the Asian side. So in reality, this canal is what divides Africa from Asia, we can say. You'll see some military installations as we are passing through also on each side. Some of them are still active and still used, and some of them are abandoned. And of course they have a strategic value in terms of securing the canal in case of war. And just a little bit further up ahead, not that you can see it, but we would be passing over the Ahmed Hamdi tunnel, and that's a little interesting. It was built back in the 80s, and it is actually for automobiles to the only road, we can say, below the canal. All other roads are connected by bridges, which we passed very early in the morning or in the night time. So this is the one tunnel that exists underneath the Suez Canal, and the special thing about this tunnel is that after it was built, they discovered that leaks in the tunnel, and in order to reseal the tunnel, they simply built another tunnel inside the original one, so it became a little bit smaller. We're still on schedule and should be reaching the south exit at just around 2:30. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Henrik here on the bridge. We are approaching the end, not the bitter end, but the end of the Suez Canal. Within the next 15 to 20 minutes, we will say goodbye to our canal pilot here, and then we will need a harbor pilot, as they call it, to exit the final part. He's going to be with us for just a short period of time. So between now and the next 20 to 25 minutes, that will happen, and also we will say goodbye to our mooring boat that is hanging on our starboard side, and has been the case here through the canal.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Captain, the boat is away.
We are in 995.
Yeah. Yes, of course.
You want that boat